The Curse of the Mekong. Whisper in the quiet village of Prey Veng. Nestled along the muddy banks of the Mekong River, the air was thick with secrets. The year was 1993, a time when Cambodia was still healing from its scars and the villagers clung to old superstitions. Among the rice paddies and stilted wooden houses, whispers spoke of a vengeful spirit, a preta, a hungry ghost, lurking in the shadows of the ancient banyan tree by the river. Sokha, a young fisherman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, lived with his pregnant wife, Leakena, in a modest home overlooking the river. Their love was the envy of the village, a beacon of hope in troubled times. Leakena, radiant despite her heavy belly, would sit by the window each evening singing old Khmer lullabies as she wove baskets. But the villagers noticed something strange. Leakena never left the house during the day, and Sokha grew paler with each passing week, his once steady hands trembling as he cast his nets. The rumors began when old Auntie Mies, the village healer, claimed to have seen Leakena's shadow flicker unnaturally in the moonlight. "That girl's not right," she muttered, clutching her amulet. "Her eyes are too still, like a pond hiding a crocodile." The younger villagers dismissed her as superstitious, but the elders nodded knowingly. They spoke of a curse tied to the banyan tree where decades ago a woman named Shrey Pav had drowned herself after her lover abandoned her. Her spirit, they said, was a preta, forever hungry for love and vengeance. Sokha ignored the gossip. He loved Leakena fiercely, and the thought of their unborn child filled him with purpose. But strange things began to happen. Fish vanished from his nets, replaced by clumps of riverweed that smelled of decay. At night, he heard faint whispers from the river, like a woman's voice calling his name. One evening, as he repaired his boat, a neighbor boy ran to him wide-eyed. "Uncle Sokha, I saw Auntie Leakena by the banyan tree last night. She was floating." Sokha laughed it off, but doubt gnawed at him. That night, he pretended to sleep, watching Leakena through half-closed eyes. She sat by the window, her silhouette framed by the moon. Her lullaby was haunting, the notes curling like smoke. Then, impossibly, her shadow stretched across the floor, long and thin, without her moving. Sokha's heart pounded, but he said nothing. The next day, he sought out Auntie Mies. The old woman's hut was cluttered with herbs and talismans, the air heavy with incense. "Sokha," she said, her voice low, "your wife is not what she seems. The preta by the river. It clings to those who love too deeply. It feeds on them." She handed him a small brass amulet etched with Khmer script. "Wear this, and do not trust her eyes." Sokha returned home, the amulet cold against his chest. Leakena greeted him with a smile, but her gaze lingered too long, searching. That night, the whispers from the river grew louder, and Sokha woke to find Leakena gone. Panic seized him. He grabbed a flashlight and ran to the banyan tree, its gnarled roots twisting into the earth like skeletal hands. There by the riverbank stood Leakena, or something, wearing her face. Her sarong was soaked, clinging to her swollen belly, and her hair hung in wet strands. She turned, and her eyes were empty, black as the Mekong's depths. "Sokha," she whispered, her voice echoing inside his skull. "Why do you doubt me?" He stumbled back, clutching the amulet. "You're not my wife," he choked out. The figure laughed, a sound like breaking glass, and the air grew heavy with the stench of rot. "I am Leakena," it said. "I am love. I am hunger." The ground beneath Sokha trembled, and roots from the banyan tree slithered toward him, coiling like snakes. Desperate, Sokha recited a prayer Auntie Mias had taught him, his voice shaking. The amulet burned against his skin and the figure screamed, its form flickering. For a moment he saw Leakena as she once was, beautiful, alive, before her face melted into something grotesque. Hollow cheeks, jagged teeth, a preta's true form. "You cannot escape me," it hissed. "She gave herself to me." Sokha ran, the creature's laughter chasing him through the paddies. He reached the village temple where the monks were chanting, their voices a shield against the dark. The head monk, Venerable Che, listened to Sokha's story with a grave expression. "The ghost is Shrey Pov," he said. "She drowned in despair and now she seeks to trap others in her sorrow. Your wife, she may already be lost." Sokha refused to believe it. He returned home at dawn, hoping to find Leakena safe. Instead, he found the house empty, the air thick with the smell of river mud. On the floor lay a woven basket, half finished, stained with dark, wet handprints. His knees buckled. Had Leakena been the preta all along, or had the spirit taken her? Determined to know the truth, Sokha sought the banyan tree once more, this time with Venerable Chai and a young monk named Rith. The monks brought sacred threads and a relic said to banish spirits. As they approached, the river churned violently and a cold wind tore through the branches. Shrey Pov's voice echoed, "You cannot have him." The monks began their ritual, chanting in Pali as they tied threads around the tree. Sokha clutched the relic, his heart torn between fear and hope. The preta appeared, its form shifting between Leakena's face and its own monstrous visage. "She loved you," it snarled, "but love is weak. I am eternal." Rith sprinkled holy water and the creature shrieked, its body unraveling like smoke. But as it faded, Sokha saw a vision, Leakena, pale and trembling, standing by the river months ago. She had been pregnant, desperate to protect their child. In her grief, she'd prayed at the banyan tree, unaware of the preta waiting to claim her soul. Shrey Pov had merged with her, feeding on Sokha's love to anchor itself to the world. "Leakena," Sokha cried, tears streaming down his face. The vision flickered, and for a moment Leakena's true self looked at him, her eyes full of sorrow. "I'm sorry," she whispered before vanishing. The preta's screams died as the monks completed the ritual, binding its spirit to the tree with sacred threads. The river stilled and the air grew light, but Sokha fell to his knees, sobbing. Leakena was gone. Perhaps she had been gone for months, her body stolen by the preta while her soul lingered in torment. The village buried an empty coffin for Leakena, and Sokha left Prey Veng, unable to bear the river's whispers. The banyan tree still stands, its roots now adorned with offerings to keep Shrey Pov at bay. But on moonless nights, villagers say they hear a woman's lullaby from the Mekong, soft and mournful, searching for a love it can never reclaim. Years later, a young couple moved into Sokha's old house. They laughed at the village's ghost stories until they found a woven basket under the floorboards, its fibers stained with dark, wet handprints that never dried.